What's up guys, it's Tosh here back with another video, and today guys I have for you Spider-Man Miles Morales review on the PS4. No mega big spoilers. There might be some suits you haven't seen yet in the game, and if you are really sensitive to spoilers, or you don't want to see anything relating to the game, if you haven't played it yet yourself or seen it or anything, then don't watch it. But for the most part, I feel like 98% of the things I talk about in this video or show are not really big spoilers. So, but yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. No big spoilers, because I don't want to be that channel that does that to people. If you see spoilers, you're going to avoid them. But still, regardless, I'd like for people to, watch maybe another YouTuber's playthrough of it or something. But, I just wanted to talk about it in brief, really, and just like Spider-Man and Miles as a character. So we're going to jump straight into that. Spider-Man, it's just crazy how long, I've just loved Spider-Man ever since a kid. My first time watching a Spider-Man movie was Spider-Man 3, I think, and I know that's backwards because why didn't you watch the first two? But I was young, and it had just came out, I think, in 07, so I was that was my first time watching it. Ever since then, I've just loved the character so much. I've just loved Spider-Man so much. Literally my favorite superhero. And I just love it. And this new Miles character, and it's crazy because Miles is still relatively new. He was introduced in 2011 in a comic, I think. I'm not too big into the comics, but after playing this game and I guess just going through a story with a whole different Spider-Man character, it's just really interesting, and it makes me want to get into the comics a lot more. And I just really feel like this game did a really good job of just showing Miles off to us, because he's still pretty unfamiliar. We know basic stuff, his powers and his backstory and everything like that. But it's cool to see different things other than comic books and movies, like this, for example, this video game made by Insomniac Games, them portraying Miles and them showing Miles, and just how they can just flesh out the character and make things different. It's just different variety within the Spider-Verse, if you will. So it's just really cool. Shouts out to Yuri Lowenthal, the voice of the original Spider-Man, and Naj, I think Naj Dieter, I think is his name. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but Naj, the voice actor of Miles Morales, and he's just doing such a great job, and props to him. And I hope that he's proud of his work in this game and the last one. Just overall, it's just really, really awesome, and it's just I just hope just everything about it. I just wholeheartedly love about the game. This Miles story, just about Miles having this responsibility put upon him, with the whole city of New York on his back. It's just really cool to see, young Spider-Man, because in the original Spider-Man, we were introduced to a Spider-Man, he was a scientist. He worked with Dr. Octavius, and he had 8 years experience prior, and it's just it's cool to see someone young kind of learn the ropes again. Kind of how we've all experienced Spider-Man in films and shows and comic books, whatever else. He's always young, young adult, starting out, getting used to the Spider-Man thing, balancing life and, his second life being a Spider-Man. And it was cool to see everything that, goes into that with Miles. And I just really feel like this game captured him growing into his own person, his own character. And, they really fleshed it out and showed us that, Miles is really his own situation. He's his own person, his own everything, and it's really cool. It's really cool to see, and I feel like Insomniac did a really, really good job with this game, and showing Miles' story, and introducing him to people that aren't familiar with him, or just like I said, fleshing out his character more to the people that were already familiar with it. So I feel like they did a really good job with Miles in this story. Another thing I want to touch on is how fun the combat was in this game. When they were showing the videos for the original Spider-Man on PS4, and all the the swinging and the combat, it's really cool. The combat was something that really stuck out to me, and all the dodges and the finishers they introduced and everything. It's just really cool to see all cool animations and just fun combat, because that's the big thing. You never want a repetitive experience when playing a Spider-Man game, and that's something that Spider-Man games kind of have a trouble with. With boss fights, a lot of them are just dodge, hit him with this, dodge, and that's really, I don't blame any person that's produced a Spider-Man game, any of the devs that have worked on any Spider-Man game. I don't fault them for that, because there's not much you can do with that. but I still feel like they're pretty fun. And just even general combat with like lower tier enemies like these, and it was really cool. And it took a lot of hits to geez, that's not the right word, to defeat a lot of the enemies. I'm assuming because like Miles is, he's smaller and he's still young, and his strikes aren't as strong as Peter's. And I didn't think about that until playing the game and realizing how many strikes it took. And also probably the difficulty I was playing on. I was playing on Spectacular, which I think at the time was the hardest difficulty. But when I beat the game, I think I unlocked the ultimate difficulty for the new game plus that I'm going to play after I record this video. So, but yeah, it's cool to it's just fun. Like I did have a really fun time with the combat, doing all the different finishers and dodges and everything. Like I feel like they up the ante when it comes to the combat. Because, like I said, I fell in love with the Spider-Man PS4 combat, and then playing this is it's just like a whole different experience, honestly. Another thing great about the game, the traversal, the web slinging, just the movement, the free roam is just 10 times more amazing than Spider-Man PS4. And I loved Spider-Man PS4's traversal. It was really cool with Peter and the web swinging and like the air tricks you could do and everything. It was really cool at the time, but they just went 10 times crazier with Miles, seeing as like Miles is a lot more slim and thin and young, because Peter, he's older. I think he's like 23 in the game. He's been doing it for 8 years, so he's a bit older. So his air tricks and swinging might not be as fluent and like cool as Miles's is, but like Miles is just like every swing there's like another new animation. There's like loads of air tricks that were added. And like it just makes it more fun to web sling. Like that's what makes a Spider-Man game really. Like, yeah, story is great, and like that's a big main focal point too. But like a lot of people in their whole time lives of playing Spider-Man, any console, any whatever, like just web swinging, like swinging around freely, doing whatever you want. Like it's just cool. And like that's a big part of Spider-Man games, and they really nailed it once again. They nailed it in Spider-Man PS4, and they just topped it 10 times more in Spider-Man Miles Morales. So I'm really happy with it, because like it's just it just makes things awesome. It really does put the cherry on top. Like, awesome combat, awesome story, and then you add great traversal on top of that, and it just makes it 10 times more amazing. So the freaking traversal in this game, man, the web swinging, just everything, it just works well together. And I'm really happy that they added a lot more to it, because they could have just kept a lot of the same animations and did that, but they really went in and added more. So I'm really happy about that one. Overall, I really enjoyed the game. I felt like it was like the perfect length of time. It wasn't too long or too short. Everything was pretty much concise and told throughout the story pretty well, I feel like. And I'm really happy with it. And compared to Spider-Man PS4, which was a much longer game, because Insomniac that was their first time taking a shot at a big superhero game, and that being Spider-Man. So, they had to introduce this new version of Spider-Man, and Peter, he was like a scientist. He had been doing the Spider-Man thing for 8 years, and usually what we see with Spider-Man in movies and things of that nature is the same old thing, Uncle Ben, he's getting bit by the spider. But in Spider-Man PS4, he already got bit. He's been doing it for a long time. It's just, stuff like that. And with Miles, it was a lot shorter because, he got bit in the first game, and then we move on, and now he has his whole game now, and then this is his story. And, it's not necessarily a sequel to the original Spider-Man. It's like a spin-off, but with bits of the story from the original game placed in with this. And then, hopefully, in the full-on Spider-Man 2 sequel, because if you know what happened at the end of Spider-Man PS4, with Harry being in that tank of green stuff, for like these, like it looked like black, like lines attached to him, like a potential like Venom, thing going on within the sequel. So it'll be really interesting to see what they do with the sequel with Miles, because he has this full-on game, and how things ended in this game. Like I said, no spoilers. I'm not going to say anything like that. But how things ended in this game, I feel like I'd hope at least he has some part in the sequel. I feel like they wouldn't just make a whole new Spider-Man game, and obviously you'll be playing with Spider-Man the majority of the time, like Peter Parker, but Miles would have to be integrated somehow in there. So maybe you'll do some missions with Miles, some missions with Peter, but I feel like majority they'll do with Peter, and then the other half will be, or not even half, the other like tidbit of, or a little bit of stuff will be with Miles. So it's really interesting to see, and I am playing on the PS4. No PS4 Pro, just PS4. So these are the graphics for it, and I feel like it looks pretty well. Honestly, it would have obviously looked a lot better if I had played it on the 5, but I can't get my hands on the 5 currently. But I was happy regardless. Everything looked great as it does. The PS4 by no means is a bad system, but if you're comparing it to the next gen consoles, obviously there is a downgrade. But it was fun. I didn't have any like problems with it. I didn't have any like tedious things to like nitpick about. It was just a fun experience all around. Graphically, story wise, gameplay wise, it was just, I won't say it was perfect, but it was fun. I just overall love this game, and in the comments, let me know if you guys are gonna watch a YouTuber's playthrough of it, or if you played it yourself and how you feel about it. I hope my review of it was somewhat enjoyable and make you want to go get it. I highly recommend it. Honestly, I'd say if you don't have a next gen console right now, a PS5, and you have a PS4 but you're kind of waiting on the 5, if you honestly want to just play this game now and you want to play it bad, I'd say go for it. PS4 Pro, whatever PlayStation system you have, I feel like you should really go for it. I wouldn't say it's a necessity to buy it on the 5 if you can't get it on the 5 right now. So I would just say get it on the 4. And then anyway, you do get a free upgrade when you switch over to the 5. So if you were to buy it on PS4, as soon as you go on PS5 and transfer your data, the game's there. So yeah. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this review. I hope you all enjoyed. And yeah, that's my overall review for Spider-Man Miles Morales. Definitely excited for what they do with him in the future and the sequel for Spider-Man. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed. Catch you guys in the next video. It's Taj, and I'll see you guys.